Long ago, in the time where Frieza and his army were feared by every planet far and wide, one soldier stood out from the rest, overlooked by many, underestimated by all. Only used to clean up trash left behind by the Saiyans. Saibaman was the weakest of them all. But one day, he decided that needed to change. So he chose to beat the entire Dragon Ball Legend story all by himself. This is the story of how one Saibaman beat the story mode. In this series, I will try to beat every book in the story mode so far, but with one major twist. Every battle I face must be played with the Saibaman character. No matter if story mode or in any event, every Chrono Crystal and every Zenny must come from the Saibaman. To do this, I will start a fresh account with no characters, and I will need to acquire the Saibaman characters from scratch, and level them up to the max to even have a hope of beating the story. Is it even possible? I don't know, but let's try. By the way, I'm streaming all of these live on YouTube every Monday, so if you want to see that, make sure you tune in. Alright, after creating my first account, it was time for the very first level of this series. Part 1, Book 1. Which, if any of you have played the game before, is the tutorial. And besides being a pain in the ass for being so long and completely unskippable, it's also one of the few story levels that lock you into a specific character. In this case, Goku. And sadly that means no Saibaman. But don't worry, we will come back to these levels later once we get the Green Goat himself, so that I can beat them fair and square. But in the tutorial, we attack using arts cards, swipe to evade enemy attacks, and collect Dragon Balls to use the most powerful attack in the game, Rising Rush, which for the sake of the series I will rename Cyber Rush, because it's just that goated. This attack will save us many times in the future, since it can one-shot any enemy in the game, mostly. But that is basically everything we need to know to beat the first part of the story. So let's get right into it, right? Not quite. You see, despite there being many Cybermen in the game, at the start, we don't have any. So how can you get Cyberman? Well, there are two types of characters in Legends, free-to-play and summonable. And lucky enough for me, 5 of the 8 Cybermen characters in the game are free-to-play. Or so you would think, because the event used to obtain these characters isn't unlocked until later in the story. So summoning is our only option. Well, that still leaves 3 Cybermen characters we can get, right? Nope. One of the Cybermen currently isn't available, which means we only have 2. But DZ, you ask, how are you going to summon for said Cybermen? Well, I'm glad you asked, because lucky enough for me, Legends gives you 10 free summon tickets when you create a fresh account. And guess just who is on those tickets? That's right, Cyberman. How perfect. I can't wait to start my story journey. Just have to summon Cyberman, get him, you know, put him on a team, start playing. This is gonna be great. No Cyberman. Turns out, Cyberman only has a 1.3% pull rate. And with no more tickets left, I guess this challenge is over. Just kidding, remember what I said at the very start? Alright, after creating my first account... Yup, that's right. We're gonna have to go back to the very start. Create a new account and go through the tutorial again just to have another 1.3% chance of pulling Cyberman. This might take a very long time. Or so you might think, because there is one secret strategy you guys might not know about, which I like to call being a certified ultra lucky gambler, because by some miracle this happened on our second attempt to pull Cyberman. Come on, Goku. Great. I don't want these extremes. Oh my god! What a pull, guys! The best pull in the game! Saibaman! It's him! It was destiny. The final summon. With Saibaman in my inventory, there was now nothing left to hold me back from jumping straight into the story mode. So after throwing him on a terrible but it'll do type team, I did just that. By the way, yes, that is an LF, the second highest rarity in the game, just on the bench. Somehow I managed to pull him before Saibaman. I know, my luck knows no bounds. Now, let's get to it. Book 1, Chapter 4, which normally would be a chapter to ignore. Very easy with 3 characters. But we just have one. And he happens to be the weakest character in the game. So this first level is actually extremely difficult. Nah, I'm playing. This level was insanely easy. In the first few chapters, enemies don't really do anything. They just stand around there, and so... Wait. No. Whoa. Guys, what did I just do? I almost failed the challenge on level 1. Forget about losing the level. I almost wasted the entire account. Let me explain. Every character in Legends has a main ability, which can range from stat buffs to transforming you into a whole new character. But Saibaman's main ability gives him an attack, a special ability attack. And what I fully forgot was what this special ability card does. You see, this attack is a self-sacrificing move, where Saibaman attaches to the enemy and explodes himself. But what that means is that once he dies, I get switched into my ally battle member. In this case, Jocko. But this isn't Jocko only Dragon Ball Legends. This is Saibaman only Dragon Ball Legends. So that would be breaking the rules. Which means I would have had to completely restart the challenge. But luckily, I realized just barely in the nick of time and closed the app, forcing the game to pause, right before I got switched to Jocko. So I quit the match, lucky to still be playing on the same account, and went right back into the same level. This time, armed with the knowledge that his main ability was a no-go. And just like how it was meant to go, I cleared the stage easily. But what I didn't know was that the next 10 chapters would all be the same. Until I reached Chapter 3, Book 1, which was our very first boss fight, who was Raditz. And he had a level much higher than any enemy I had fought prior. So this level would have been impossible for the Saibaman I started with. But luckily, my units also leveled up as the story progressed, and my Saibaman was already at level 1176, over 300 levels more than Raditz. So this boss fight was nothing special. As you can see, I was doing more than half of the Saibaman's health, and Raditz himself only took 2 attacks as well. So yeah, part 1 is still easy. I just wanted to mention the first boss fight. So the grind continued. I got into a nice rhythm and levels started flying by. I would start the level, skip the story, select Saibaman, and press random cards to win basically with all my health left. And then the cycle continued. With my no-skill method, I got quite comfortable and thought that this challenge was gonna fly by. Books 3, 4, and 5 went by like a charm. But after a while, me and my chat got a little bit bored. So by the request of my viewers, we dove into a little bit of a rabbit hole. Or, well, whatever this is. Apparently, alligators in Florida are starting to grow floppers instead of tails, which I guess is similar to the Cyberman in the top left of my screen, who also seems to have grown a tail. But if you guys are enjoying this video, feel free to listen to what this cheeky little guy says. But anyway, back to the challenge. After beating part 5, I was feeling very confident. Perhaps a little too confident. Because the level I was about to face was actually not too easy. And with my mind being flooded with thoughts of alligators with floppers, I guess my concentration slipped a little, because this happened. Bro, why is this Vegeta doing a lot of damage? Damn, these levels are getting harder. What do you mean he's also... Oh shit. Whoa, I'm almost dead. No, no, no. I actually lost one. No. Vegeta was by far the strongest opponent I had to face so far. He was able to kill my Saibaman in just a few cards, and tanked like a beast, which was probably because his level was 2,200, even more than I had on my Saibaman. And not just that, because in this level, he fights alongside Nappa, who is at level 2,100. And even on top of that, Vegeta is the first sparking enemy we face in the story, which means he is 2 rarities above Saibaman, which greatly increases his power. But if I just play seriously and don't make any big mistakes, this level shouldn't be too hard to clear. And so I went back in, and well, we are not losing this time. I'm going to make sure of that. I'm going to play like a pro God rank player, but with Saibaman. Come on, just die already. No, this Vegeta does so much damage. This is our first actually kind of challenging level, guys. 2 bosses in one. Alright, we did it. At this point, I was seriously starting to get worried if this challenge was even possible in the first place. If I was already struggling this hard in part 1, what the hell was I going to do in part 18? But that's a story for another day. Cause for now, the rest of part 1 is a cakewalk compared to Vegeta. So I got grinding. And I got very deep into that grind. So much so that I didn't even realize that I had reached the final boss of part 1. Who isn't just the hardest enemy in part 1, but also one of the main characters in the story, I think. I haven't actually read the story, but this guy seems to show up a lot, so he probably is. But this boss is known as the Saiyan in Red, probably because he wears red. And he is strong. Standing at a whopping level 2,500, his stats are second to none in the first part of the story. But that's not why he's so hard. He is hard because of his element. Long ago, the 5 elements lived together in harmony, each strong and weak against one another. Then everything changed when the dark element attacked. Only the light had advantage. Everything else was weak and vulnerable. But when Legends needed light the most, he vanished, leaving behind only Saibaman to stop it. So yeah, dark element is no bueno. It means that any attack the Saiyan in Red uses does more damage. And obviously any attack that I use does basically nothing. But I knew this moment was coming. And that's why I've prepared. And made sure that my Saibaman was ready for this challenge. You see, from the start, I've been leveling my Saibaman as much as possible for this exact moment. And so by the time I reached this boss, my Saibaman wasn't level 2000 or level 2500. He was over level 3000. And so just a puny little Saiyan could never stop the almighty Super Saibaman. That's right, I beat him in just a couple of seconds. He should have never underestimated the power of Saibaman. But I hate to say it, we aren't done yet. There was still one level left, the final level. Part 1 was basically already in my grasp. I could almost taste the victory. Surely, my Super Saibaman could beat this stage also. And yes, he can. This stage is nothing special. It was even easier than the Saiyan in Red. Which means we officially beat Part 1 of Dragon Ball Legends with only Saibaman. Just 17 parts more to go.